Hey, everybody. We are in front of the mic with the Beyond the Books podcast brought to you by accountingdepartment.com. I'm your host, Kevin Dry, and today we're joined by Nancy, our implementation director here at accountingdepartment.com. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into how, from an implementation perspective, we strategically align our resources to provide clients with the best systems and a team to support them. So that's what we're getting into today. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing today, Nancy?
I am doing wonderful. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Excited to have you on here. Now, normally we start these things off with a very typical tell us about yourself. So tell us a little bit
Sure.
about yourself, your role at ADC, how long you've been with us, things like that.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I am the implementation director here, and simply put, what that means is I'm just here to support our teams that onboard our new clients. I'm in my 17th year here, and that's been almost exclusively in this department. I have a real passion for this area, and I used to think, how different can clients be, right? Everybody has payroll, everybody has AP, everybody has AR, but it's an exciting place to be because what I've learned is that no clients are the same. So everybody we partner with has their own unique challenges when it comes to their accounting, and so we're here to find out what those challenges are and then team up with them to find solutions.
All right, awesome. Love that. Yeah, that's such an important part of what we do at ADC, getting us off to the right foot. So, building that relationship. So, thank you for what you do. So, anyway, just wanted to dive more into let's delve into the philosophy of our implementation team. So, can you share the core values and mission that drive the way that you operate and approach your new clients?
Oh, sure. So accountingdepartment.com's philosophy is, we do the right thing. And so in our department specifically, we talk a lot about serving the clients well and serving one another well. And so the landscape has changed so much over the years because of advancements in technology. And there's no way one person can possibly know everything about every application. So we work really hard across our teams um, uh, in implementation to make sure that we're sharing knowledge and experience. And so that our goal is to, see around the corners for our clients what applications will work best for them. So bottom line is just take care of the clients and take care of each other.
Right, that's a great role. So how do these values manifest in the day-to-day workings and the long-term strategies of the team?
Yeah, so we meet regularly. We have a biweekly call for our entire team that is an open agenda. So anybody can bring questions or challenges or something that they've learned so that we can hear a wide variety of viewpoints. We do a lot of brainstorming. We have 4 different positions on our team that are assigned to onboard our new clients. And so everybody comes with a different perspective. So for example, if a client or project manager is having a nuanced challenge, getting a particular application to meet our clients' needs, then we'll talk about it and brainstorm, talk about different approaches.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So with our philosophy in mind, how does the team approach the discovery and vetting of those new platforms for our clients?
Oh, this is my favorite part. So the team's always on the lookout for new technology. We attend conferences, we attend webinars, but probably most importantly, we work really closely with our tech team led by Joy Osuch, who used to work in our implementation department. So we know her well, and she knows how we work really well. Her team has their pulse on the latest and greatest in technology and what's upcoming. She'll let us know, hey, look, this application, they're making some changes. Come back in 3 months. We really think this is going to be one that we can use across, a multitude of clients. Um, Probably the best example I have of that recent one was Joy discovered an application called EFACT that is specifically used for our DCAA clients. And she brought that to our team. We vetted it over a good period of time. And then Stacy Walgren, who's one of our assistant directors, led in the charge of, learning the fine details of the program. And now we're in the process of converting almost all of our DCA clients to this application. And it's just going to streamline things so much better once we get them converted. And the biggest thing, of course, is that then it allows them to move out of desktop and into QuickBooks Online, which is really what we want, since QuickBooks Desktop is going to be sunsetting.
Gotcha. Okay. And yeah, I know Joy and her team, they do a great job of, vetting, doing that research and
Yep,
everything on the technology side. So it seems like you guys work really well together, which is awesome.
we
Um,
do. We do. I'm a big fan
yeah.
of Joy's.
All right. And so could you detail the process of what rollout and customization for a client's unique needs looks like?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, every client is so unique. And so one of the things I want to know before we even assign a team is what is this client's biggest pain points? What part of accounting is keeping them up at night? What things are working inefficiently? Because then we can take those things and prioritize what we want to tackle first. So, every client will go through and will make adjustments to their balance sheet, and we'll make chart of account recommendations, and we'll implement bill for their AP process, and we walk through all of their workflows. But for us, it's really, really important that we know upfront what is their biggest challenges. So, for example, if their AP process is giving them the most grief off the top, then that's the first thing we want to tackle for them. And then
Yeah.
so we put all of these in milestones, and we share that with the clients so that they see full transparency on where we are, and they know exactly what's coming next.
All right. Awesome. Now, so describe the process of also building a new line of business for a specific system. Good example of this would be when we decided to branch into NetSuite here at ADC. That's a huge project. So, what was involved in creating a specialized team around certain systems like that?
Yeah, diversifying into the NetSuite arena was absolutely a huge initiative. And it's exciting too. Jenny Hoffman, who is another one of our implementation assistant directors, was the lead on getting this up and running. What's great about Jenny is she is has a natural need to learn, right? So she started, when we started this initiative, she didn't know NetSuite, and NetSuite is a much more complex accounting application. And so that learning curve was big. So she attended NetSuite conferences. She's gotten certifications. She found an implementer that we recommend uh, using, because it's a different approach than with QuickBooks, because the initial setup of the application is completely different. So we needed an implementer that would understand how we work, and we would understand how they work, and then they create the scripts and so on, so that the information flows through the accounting system correctly. She's built out the implementation team, hiring Molly Gent, who's one of our controllers. We have our standard team with our project manager and our leads. And in addition, we have created a role called a process and systems analyst. And as our NetSuite client base has grown, we need somebody who can analyze the system and our processes and make sure that we're staying up to date and using the most efficient approach. And then, of course, one of the really exciting things is we also recently added Angie Caldwell as our NetSuite financial lead, and her role is to really be a bridge between implementation and our client services team. We pride ourselves on making that transition seamless for our clients, and so she's really helping in that area.
Now, following up on that, how are internal resources dynamically allocated from development all the way to execution?
So this initiative definitely was a complete team effort. And when I mean complete team, I mean all departments in the company needed to be involved in order to be successful. So our entire leadership team was involved, from HR to make sure that we were hiring the best and brightest, training and ops, because obviously onboarding new staff needed to be customized for the NetSuite vertical. We also, of course, had Abby, who is the head of our director of client services. We had to make sure we had the right team that we were transitioning the clients to. And then, of course, our co-founders, Dennis and Bill, who've just continued to support our efforts and make suggestions along the way. And they've been fantastic.
Yeah, teamwork really does make the dream work here. So the old saying holds true. Um,
Yes.
Now, managing expectations is vital. So how is this balanced for new platforms, both internally with our team and externally with our clients? You're managing expectations a couple different ways there. So how do you do that?
Yes, yes. I found internally is probably less of a challenge. We have worked with so many applications over the years that we're used to applications changing. Dennis has said for years, the only constant is change, and so we hire people that are tech savvy and that have a natural capacity and interest in learning. So I don't find it as big of a challenge internally, but we do have to make sure that we give them the space if they're in an application for a new client that they haven't used before. We've got to give them the space to get them trained and get them comfortable before we feel like that handoff has been complete. Externally, we do our very best to come up with a tech stack that we think will work best for our clients. So the reality is no one application has all pros and no cons, right? There's no one size fits all for everybody, but we do feel like we have enough experience with the ones that we're recommending to know that it'll be a good fit. And so we give them our options, and we're upfront and tell them, this is what you're going to love about it. This one is what you may not like about it. The cost is a little lower. Can you live with that? That's the type of
Yeah.
approach we take.
Yeah, yeah, good to go over all those things. Just really setting the climate and those expectations, and honesty is the best way to go about it. So, just understanding those things, putting it in their terms too. So,
Yep.
now, what tactics do you find most effective for maintaining clear and realistic communication?
Okay, so I mentioned this earlier that as far as the progress and implementation, we send milestone reports on a weekly basis because, as you mentioned, honest and transparent communication is so important. But we also speak with our clients multiple times a week. So if we run into an unexpected obstacle, we just share that with them. We ask them to do the same with us. If they run into something on their end that's holding them up, which will then hold us up, we just ask that they share that with us. And I would say across the board, we don't usually find that a big issue. One of our big philosophies is how we partner with our clients. And they understand we're people, we run into problems, we understand they're people, businesses are made up of people. And so when things happen, we make adjustments, and we really don't find that to be a big issue as long as we stay in front of it and let them know what's going on and reset timelines. They will, people work together.
Yeah, yeah, and I love how you spoke a little bit to the ability to adapt. Adaptability is key when anytime like those unexpected changes happen.
Yep.
So, how does the team handle shifts like that whenever they happen?
Yep. So again, I'm really, really fortunate to work with a team of people that are very flexible, very adaptable. Again, Dennison is the only thing that's constant is change. And so it's something that really does come naturally to them, which is what makes them a good fit for the implementation department. Of course, nobody's immune to the frustrations of obstacles. So that, there are times when that comes, but they are natural problem solvers. So they take these setbacks in stride and again, just communicate the best approach to move forward.
Yeah, yeah. Now, could you provide just an anonymized example of adjusting plans to maintain our standard of detail and efficiency?
Yeah, so probably the most recent example that comes to mind is we had signed on a client that had recently bought his company. So he hadn't been in it for very long. And when he talked to our proposal team, he wanted every bell and whistle that we had. And so that was fantastic. But when it comes to that kind of granular reporting that he was looking for, obviously we need more information from them in order to get that reporting out. And so he really at the time didn't have the operational support on his end. And he just didn't have his sea legs under him yet, from having just bought the business. So we talked to him and I recommended, hey, let's just pull back a little bit. Let's take it a little bit higher viewpoint, and then we'll revisit this in 3 or 6 months once you have a better feel for, what resources you have or where you may need additional resources. And he was relieved. You could just see relief. He was like, okay, that's perfect. Let's just pause on this and we'll come back to it when I've got more capacity.
Yeah, that's good. Sometimes they just need to hear that voice from someone else. So,
Yeah.
someone who knows what they're talking about. That's awesome. Now, our implementation department, just like ADC, has just expanded significantly in its structure and expertise. Can you talk about this evolution?
Yes, it has definitely evolved over the years. As our client base has evolved and technology has changed, that's really what's driven a lot of the evolution. We needed to adjust accordingly. So, um, I'm definitely aging myself, but when I first started at the company years ago, the only application we worked in was QuickBooks Desktop. I mean, that's it. We didn't have any integrated applications. That was all you needed to know. And so now we have implementation, we have apps for accounts payable, for expense reporting, for inventory, for time tracking. I mean, I could go on and on. And so we had to adjust with our team too, because we had to staff the department with a team of people that one love technology, love an evolving environment, and just has a thirst for kind of the excitement of always having something new, and don't get burnt out by that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now, right now, a lot of businesses are listening and they're thinking about how they can grow their own startup team. Now, looking back, you've been with us, you said 17 years since looking back to the very beginning of this journey. What would the person that you are today share with the person that you were at the start of ADC's implementation team?
So, first and foremost, I would say to surround yourself with the right people that want to do the right thing. And then make sure that they're on the right seat on the bus. We can have the very best tech stack and processes and procedures, but if we don't have people that really understand our mission, then none of that matters. So we've got to have the right people who, like I said, want to serve our clients and serve each other well. Um, and secondly, I would say to keep your sense of humor and humility because in hindsight, I mean, I laugh regularly at some of the decisions that I made, early on. And so just keep your sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. That's something that's, simple but it's so important. You have to be able to, laugh at things and grow from
Yep.
them. And, there's big growth in that. So awesome stuff. So what steps can businesses take in making sure all their resources are aligned strategically to reach their goals?
So the approach that I would recommend is first come up with the best process and structure, regardless of if you have the right resources at the time. Start with a structure that you think will work. And then because you can always build out the resources later, I think what happens is a lot of people will start with the people they have and try to build a structure around that instead of the other way around. So that's probably the first recommendation that I would make. That's one of the mistakes I think we made early on. Um, I would also say listen to your team. Um, they've got varying different perspectives and different ideas. And I think when people work in an environment where they really feel like they can share all those ideas, you'll end up with the best next steps as long as you're listening to people. And then lastly, just make sure it's scalable, that what you're doing can be replicated because that's how you'll build.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah. Very good tips there. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up today's episode of the Beyond the Books podcast brought to you by accountingdepartment.com. Nancy, thanks so much for joining us today and giving us a look into everything that goes into providing companies with those optimal resources to support their own strategies and goals. So thanks for coming on today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And hope to do it again soon. So, now to our listeners, remember to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Drop us a review, throw us a like, help us start climbing those podcast ranks. Once again, I'm Kevin Dry, and we will AD see you later.